In today's scenario, as we are opening up to the lockdown, there is still uncertainty seen among people regarding their livelihood. And in such situations, if we listen to an inspiration among us, it not only motivates us, but makes us our mindset ready to take on the challenges what may come on. For today's webinar, we have eminent dignitaries with us who will inspire us with their life experiences and struggles and challenges which they have faced on. Before I proceed with the webinar, I would like to introduce the chairperson for today's webinar, that is Dr. Narendra Patwardhan sir. Dr. Patwardhan sir himself is a very strong sports person with special interest in long distance cycling, badminton, and trekking. I am sure you all must have not heard of this, but he himself is very a likelihood of strong sports personality. He is ex-vice president IADVL, ex-president Maharashtra IADVL, convener e-voting, chairman of practice management cell IADVL, organizing chairperson of Dharmakant 2020. With this, I would like to hand over the platform to Patwardhan sir. Patwardhan sir, over to you.
Thank you, Rahul, for your introduction. Welcome to all my dermatologist colleagues and non-dermatologist friends to the fifth episode on behalf of Dharma Sports Group. And this will be a chat between Guru and Shishya. The Shishya will be Dr. Pradyumna Vaidya and Guru will be Dr. Kaustubh Radkar. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Pradyumna Vaidya. I call him a triple D, dashing dynamic dermatologist. He has three generations of dermatologists in his house. His grandfather was a dermatologist. His father is a dermatologist. He himself is a astute dermatologist with clinical acumen, expertise in lasers, expertise in hair transplant, and expertise in everything. His wife Dhanashri also is a dermatologist, and I am sure his two sons, 11 years old and 8 years old, are also in pipeline for a dermatology career. And Pradyumna has been a backbone for many dermatologists in Pune, and the first one will be me. He has been the backbone when we hold the conferences, right from Skin Age in 2004, CutiCon in 2010, HairCon in 2015, ASICon in 2016, and a very big backbone and organizing secretary of recently concluded DharmaCon 2020 in Pune, which was a huge success. Along with this, Dr. Pradyumna himself is a athlete. He has a mastery in running, cycling, jogging, and many other sports activities. And he was a ex judo player when he was in the early school and early college days. Today, he is going to be the moderator for this very unique webinar, wherein he is going to interview his guru, Dr. Kaustubh Rakar. I welcome Dr. Kaustubh on behalf of everyone, and now I hand over the whole proceedings to Dr. Pradyumna Vaidya. Pradyumna, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the kind introduction and the kind words. Because of you, I am able to do so many things. I have learned a lot of things from you: how to manage sports, how to manage the conferences, and how to manage the clinic. Okay, coming to today's webinar, sir gave me an idea ki, why you can't call your mentor, your trainer, and to have a chat with us, because he has achieved so much in his life till now. So I thought, yes, why not? So I had a talk with my coach, Dr. Kaustubh Radkar, and he was willingly accepted to come here and to share his thoughts. So thank you, Kaustubh, for coming over here. Before wasting much of not wasting much of a time, I will likely directly go to the presentation. Basically, we are going to have an interview kind of a thing where I will ask about his journey in his unique platform, what he is doing, and how it started, how it developed, and what all things he has achieved during this span of almost 12 years. So that we will go through it. So purposefully, I have kept today's name as Beyond the Limits. Why Beyond the Limits? Because in the presentation, you will know what he has achieved. It is absolutely beyond imagination, beyond the human limits. That's what he has achieved. So when I spoke with my few of my friends, I'm going to do this topic, and it is going to be an Ironman topic. So most of the people thought Ironman is something like a bodybuilder where there are a lot of muscles, hefty muscles, and something that kind of a thing. So when I told Dr. Kaustubh Radkar is going to come and speak about his Ironman journey, so many people thought Kaustubh Radkar is a Ironman, a steel man. But when they came to know Kaustubh is a fit athlete, they were surprised. Ki, Are, Ironman, we thought he must be a builder, but actually he is a slim, fit guy. So how it is possible? So many people don't know what exactly Ironman is all about. So I will like to ask Kaustubh, what exactly Ironman is all about.
So thank you for having me here, and I really like the pictorial representation on the left. I wish I would have muscles like these, but um, for the layman, Ironman is quite simply a triathlon. So triathlon has different distances. Ironman is considered to be one of the toughest one-day events in the world. As you're showing the slide, a full Ironman, which is the one I have done 25 times, has a 3.8 kilometer swim, and that swim is done in anything besides a swimming pool. So a river, a lake, or an ocean. You don't have the whole day, obviously, to do the 3.8 kilometers of swimming. You have a strict cutoff of 2 hours and 20 minutes. After that, you get to sit on your cycle, and the cycle ride is of 180.2 kilometers. Again, it's all outdoors. There's no outside help. So if you have a puncture or your chain falls or your seat falls, it is expected that you will fix it yourself. Just like the swimming, there's a cutoff for the swimming and cycling as well. So you have to be off the cycle in 10 hours and 30 minutes. That's the maximum time. Once you're done with the 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer cycle, you have a short run of 42 kilometers ahead of you. So 42.2, you can't really miss the last 200 meters, commonly called as a full marathon. If you finish all three of them, so the swim, the cycle, and the run, the maximum time is 17 hours. That's a standard Ironman cutoff. Although there's some races in the world where the cutoff is as less as 15 hours or 15 and a half hours. But majority of the Ironman races, the maximum cutoff is 17 hours. As long as you can finish the race in 17 hours, you get the Ironman medal and the fancy finish line that you will see later on.
So you saw there are three events which are going to be happening in the Ironman event, and it has to be completed in 17 hours. It is not like you have to do it for 2 days, 3 days. It has to be done in 17 hours. And imagine, Dr. Kaustubh has done not once, twice, thrice, but 25 times. It is an amazing feat what Dr. Kaustubh Radkar has achieved. Means hardly people are able to do it once or twice, but he has achieved it for 25 times in the span of 12 years only. So we'll know how he started about that. Kaustubh, were you an athlete from the beginning? In your childhood, you used to do all these things, or you were like a child which everybody knows about?
I still like to think of myself as a common person. I still don't think of myself anything beyond. But my childhood was very, very normal. Grew up in a middle class, family of five. I have an older sister, so Tilak Tank, which was the famous, which still is the famous swimming pool in Pune, we stayed maybe 500 meters from there. So as a life-saving skill, my sister and me were put into swimming classes, and for some reason, my father and also my mother, who was a huge pillar of support, did not want me to get into any mainstream sports. So no cricket, no basketball, no tennis. And initially, I was a very average swimmer. I was just doing it as a hobby. And when I turned 13 is when I started winning medals. And it's very, very simple. Once you get the taste of winning, you don't want to let go of it. So um, at the age of 13, I was Indian national champion in the 400 meters freestyle for the
Wow.
first time. And then from 1995 to 2000, I was Indian national champion all those 6 years in at least one event. I was fortunate that I got to represent our country in 4 Asia Pacific Games. Um, and that was how my swimming career progressed. There was also some politics. Obviously, we are known for this. This is not anything new that is coming out. Just that there was no social media. There was no crazy media that we have right now that, people were taking Instagram videos and posting. It was just very straightforward life. Politics happened in terms of, although I was a silver medalist at the nationals and a bronze medalist in one event, my name was subsequently dropped. Um, from the relay teams, I was not given a chance to represent India in the event 100 freestyle, where I won a silver medal. Um, and when you're at 16, 17, 18, it's quite frustrating because that's when you have dreams of making it to the Asian Games, which at that time was a huge thing. And I remember the the South Asian Federation Games were going to be happening in Kathmandu. And at Jodhpur Nationals, I had 2 silver medals, 1 bronze medal. So, uh, I should have been a walkthrough on the team. Unfortunately, my name did not come up for whatever reason. And my father, again, like I said, my parents were completely behind me, and they said, "Look, if this is going to frustrate you, look at scholarships abroad." And I contacted a couple swimming universities in the US, and to my fortune, one university, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, offered me a swimming scholarship. And so in 2001, I changed gears and I ended up moving to the US, where my primary role was to obviously study because unlike unlike Indian universities, USA universities do require you to attend classes regularly, do require you to maintain a certain GPA. Uh, I had two motives. The stronger I became as an athlete, my scholarship went up, obviously. But the harder I studied, the closer I got to Dean's List, um, my scholarship went up on that side as well. So I was working hard on both sides. I was swimming. The minimum amount required is about 24 hours in a span of 6 days. So that may sound very, very less, but when you swim 4 hours a day, that's a lot of swimming, I tell
Lot
you.
of sim. I can
Uh,
know. I can understand.
and on top of that, you have to manage your education and cooking and everything else. So, um, but I was very, very determined that I wanted to finish my education in 3 years. I wanted to finish it in a dean's list, and I also wanted to have have good grades, good recommendations that I had a admission into a master's program.
During your studies, you also tried some other sports, and that is how you started transiting from a pure swimmer to some other sports also. How did this happen?
I mean, I used to play other sports just for fun. You know, tennis was one of them. Um, Badminton was other. Uh, After my swimming career ended in 2004, uh, I had got into a very competitive master's program at the University of Wisconsin, and it was just not possible to get access to a swimming pool. So the only way to stay fit was to either go to the gym or run outside. And I found the gym very, very boring and monotonous. I enjoyed the thrill of running outdoors. I had some good friends who used to run, and that's how I started running. In 2006, there was a big craze in the USA. that everyone wanted to do a marathon event. So Oprah Winfrey wanted to do one, Lance Armstrong wanted to do one, Natalie Morales, top level celebrities, top level athletes wanted to run marathons. And I was in the right place at the right time. I was in New York City. I'd found out about the New York City Marathon. I was working for a big hospital there, and one of my patients had connection in the Roadrunners Club. So he gave me a challenge that if you promise me you will finish the full marathon, so 42.2 kilometers, um, I will make sure you get an entry. And that's how I transitioned into running my first full marathon. And in 2006, 2007, I subsequently ran a couple more marathons. But in 2008, I got a new job in Boulder, Colorado, which is supposed to be the mecca of triathlons. So world champion triathletes go there. Uh, and I was sitting with some friends of mine after finishing a swim session, and they told me about this Ironman race. And I just did my basic research, and I found out no Indian had finished an Ironman event. So at that time, it seemed like a good idea, a good challenge. I obviously had the swimming background. I obviously had run few marathons till then. My friends convinced me that the 180-kilometer cycling was going to be the easy bit, and I did my first event in 2008, and it just stuck. Like I said, it's a good addiction to have. So winning was good, and then Ironman became my second addiction in life.
Great, great. So your swimming background, the endurance background, did help you to become an triathlete.
Yeah, I mean, it plays a big role. Swimming is also a very meditative sport. It's like any other sport that it's just the water and you. When you are swimming, whether it's half an hour, 45 minutes, or like what we used to do, 2 hours, 3 hours, you become very, very resilient. You become mentally strong. So I could translate those skills straight away into long distance as well. Obviously, swimming has a lot of advantages as well, that your risk of getting injured is very, very less. So since
Mhm.
there's minimal impact, so that helps. Swimming obviously strengthens your heart and strengthens your lungs. It's one of the best sports for your lungs. So that transition was somewhat easier for me.
Okay, great. Um, After 2008, 2009, you decided to come back to India. What was your thinking? Means you could have a good career over there. You had good university. You had good points. You had good recommendation. You was a good athlete, and you are doing good over there. But why you decided to come back?
So when I first moved to the US, my goal was to come back. It just took me 13 years to finally make up my mind. By then, I had four subsequent degrees. So a Bachelor of Science, a Master of Science, an MBA, and a PhD. I was working for Johns Hopkins Hospital. So that picture is my last day at Hopkins, wearing the famous Hopkins coat as well. Um, I just was at that stage in life that I knew if I didn't come back to India that year, um, I probably would never have come back. So it was worth to me to give it a shot. When I initially thought of coming back, I had thought of becoming more on the clinical side of things, to have my practice and my clinic developed for cardiac and cancer rehab, which is what my specialty at Johns Hopkins was. We were one of the prime movers in the space of cancer rehab, actually worldwide. Um, and while I was setting up my clinic, a lot of people started approaching me for running training, for triathlon training, and that's how I slowly transitioned into becoming a full-time coach. But I think for me, it's the best decision I made. I don't miss the USA. It's good to go and visit once a while. But had I
Great.
not taken that decision, I don't think we would have been having this call right now.
Yeah, definitely. We are lucky, more lucky than that. Okay, coming to the next era, like you had the childhood era, you had the US experience. Now, what is your main thing that I think we will concentrate more on now? Ironman. Now, you started doing Ironman in 2008. I think 2008 was your first Ironman.
Yeah.
And till now, my colleagues, you will not believe he has done 25 Ironmans, and you will be surprised to know how much distance he must have covered. He has covered 5,660 kilometers while doing the triathlons for 25 times. It includes the swimming part, the cycling part, the running part. So it is just beyond imagination. And another unique feature what Kaustubh has achieved is he has completed Ironmans in all the continents. And you will not believe he is the only Indian and the first Indian to do so amongst all. Means he has completed in North America, South America, Europe he has done, Asia obviously he has done in Australia, and he has also done in South Africa. So he has covered all the continents wherever the races are possible. He has gone there and he has completed the distance. But for all this, you will be surprised to know how much hours he has spent. 7,500 hours of training he has put into that. So just imagine how much dedication he must be having while doing all this event. Means, while we say okay, 25 man, he has got so much of a celebrity status, all those kind of things, but the effort what he has done is beyond imagination. 7,500 hours. Amazing, Kaustubh. Hats off to you. Means I can't imagine having so much hours putting into this kind of a training. See, this is a representative diagram where I have put all the continents and where he has done the events. From South Africa to Langkawi to Australia to Brazil. In US, he has done the maximum. In Europe also, he has done many things. The only thing what I feel lacking is India. Why India is not having an Ironman, Kaustubh?
So as you are aware, India had its first half Ironman last year, which is a big step. There's multiple reasons why we still don't have a full Ironman. Number one, although the half Ironman sold out very quickly, it's still the numbers are still not there in Indian triathletes. Worldwide, if you see an Ironman race has anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 participants. I think in Goa we barely touched 11, 1,200. That too for the half. That's number one. Number two is Ironman has some strict rules. One of the rules is that on the bike you can have only 3 loops maximum. So 60-kilometer loop, do it 3 times 180. And it's going to be very difficult in India to find a loop. Plus that, as you know from Goa experience, the road has to be closed for the bike. It cannot be an open traffic road as well. So unless and until there's good help from the government and our numbers increase, it's going to be very difficult to have a full Ironman in India.
Okay, okay. So coming to the Ironman race proper, so what are how you prepare yourself for the Ironman race, because it is a almost 12-13 hour period you have to spend on the road, on the bike, on the foot, or and swimming. How you prepare yourself? What is your thinking process? What are the means preparations you do before the Ironman?
म्यूट झालाय का?
Kaustubh, you are not audible.
Audible now?
Yeah.
So like I said that it's very difficult to do 25 Ironmans. There's only a handful of people in the world who have done that. Most people do one as part of their bucket list, and that's where they stop. For me, training is a very integral part of my life. I usually don't look at Ironman races any differently than what my regular workouts are. Whatever is planned, I try and get to them on a daily basis. That race is an amazing race, but at the same time, it is also a very, very painful race, you can say. That in between, when you are either swimming or cycling or running, especially on the run, your body will remind you of every single workout you missed. So the good thing is that I coach so many athletes, and I have 99 athletes who have finished full Ironman. Uh, I usually sign up for races with them. So there's added motivation on both ends. It's motivation for me to train with them. And they also have a peace of mind that coach is coming with me, especially the first timers. The swim is obviously the easiest for me, but that's where I have to really focus hard as well, because I am ranked top 5 coming out of the water. So I have to really focus on where I line up. Just imagine 1,000, 1,500 athletes in the water. You don't want to be too far back as well. So there's a strategy involved that I usually go through my head. The bike is usually my weakest of the three. The first 90 kilometers of the bike go very, very fast for me because I usually have a blistering swim. And by the time the sun is at its peak, people start passing me on the bike. But that middle portion, uh, from 90 to let's say 140, 150 kilometers is mentally taxing, not just for me, but everyone. And that's where you have to be very, very supremely focused, concentrate on your heart rate, concentrate on your goal, and most importantly concentrate on your nutrition, because if you have a really bad bike, more than likely your run is going to go horribly wrong as well. Once you're on the run, you can finish the race, whatever happens. You may cramp, you may have to walk, you may have to crawl, but there's no room for mechanical failure. As long as you're mentally strong, as long as you're positive, you can finish the race. On the run, I'm only thinking about taking one step after another and just getting to the finish line, hopefully as soon as possible.
How you mentally prepare yourself to be on the road for 13 hours, 14 hours? Training, physical training, yes, that is one important thing, but we need to be mentally prepared also to be on the road for such a long hours. So how you do that?
So training itself is very, very mentally challenging. The full Ironman training, like I said, is not easy. You have to put. There are days when I am on the cycle for 6 to 7 hours, and then you have to go for a run. This is just practice I'm talking about, and the run sometimes happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's where you start doing the mental fitness drills. What you're going to talk to yourself. Um, but I found out that the more you bleed in practice, the stronger you are in war. And that's my rule to all my trainees as well, that if you do all the workouts that are given, you will learn how to get the job done on the race day.
Great. What thinking you are there means you have got 180 kilometers, so almost 6 hours you are on the cycle. What you think? Do you think how my nutrition is going to be there, or you think what I'm going to do after the race, or what next? What is your thinking when you are on the cycle for, because you are all alone and you are there for 6 hours for yourself?
Well, usually I'm very, very focused on the cycle. It's important to be focused. You don't want to lose your attention. Smallest loss, especially on a tricky course, can result in an accident or something. Nutrition, like I said, is very, very crucial. So I try not to look too far ahead, and I try not to look too far at the back. Even if I've had a good swim or a bad swim, I just tell myself it's over. Once you're on the bike, just start pedaling. The first 2 to 3 hours go relatively easy because that's when you have extra energy, extra josh. There's faster people going ahead of you, so you have a little carrot ahead of you as well. But that's when between that 90 and 140 kilometer stretch is where your mental strength comes in, and that's where again it's very important to work on your nutrition, keep working on your hydration, calculate how much you're going to eat, and then just stay positive.
So after the run, when you are around and you see the red carpet. Now, red carpet is a very interesting part of the Ironman. So, Kaustubh, tell us about the red carpet and how you feel when you see the red carpet and when you are actually on the red carpet.
Well, that is one of the most unique things, is that the red carpet waits for you at the Ironman finish line. Usually have a finisher shoot like you see So there's now I'm really hoping this is not pre-COVID times that we will have spectators lined up on both sides. Um, they are, ringing cowbells. They're banging, as you can see in the pictures. They're clapping. They're yelling. So you really feel like you're going in for the last 200 meters, and everyone who finishes get the same medal. So you can act as if you're getting the Olympic gold medal. It doesn't really matter. But it's just a very satisfying experience, having done the swim, subsequently the bike, and then the long run. Just knowing that you're just a few meters away from the finish line is exhilarating itself.
Yes, and this is the finish line where everybody is willing to cross the finish line at the earliest. Kaustubh, we have seen all the time you have this giant leap kind of a thing. What is the intention, or it's the Kaustubh style?
Well, it is something I made a promise to one of my friends. The first time I did it is the picture on the extreme right. That was 2013 at Ironman, Wisconsin. That's my fastest time as well. I had a friend who was suffering from cancer at that point, and uh, we were just chit chatting. And I said, "Okay, I'll do something special for you." And she said, "Why don't you try and jump at the finish line? Let's see if you can try and touch that board." And I said, "Okay, sure enough." And so I did it once, and thank God and thank all the medical professionals, she's cancer free and she's healthy, and that just stuck. So from that point on, I've just been jumping, regardless if I do it in 11 hours or the slowest I've done is 13 hours 15 minutes. I've jumped at every single finish line after that.
So while you jump, you remember her all the time.
A little bit, yeah. Sometimes it's very painful to remember her, but
Yeah,
I
I
just
can
love
understand. I
it.
can understand that. And I think this must be the best part, to carry an Indian tricolor when you finish and people are cheering. How is the experience?
So I've only carried the tricolor twice. The one on the left, where I obviously look younger and I have hair, is my first Ironman finish. My uncle was there, and
Yes.
then he was there at my 25th as well. So he had got the flag on both the times. Usually at races, I don't usually have family support who come with me to hold the flag for me. So it's obviously a great feeling to cross the finish line, especially on the iconic that you're the first Indian to do an Ironman to start with, and then the first Indian to finish 25 Ironmans. So nothing can beat that moment.
Yes. And these are the post race celebrations. How you relax yourself post race?
So a lot of times nowadays, post race, I am waiting for my other teammates to come. So I'll give you a funny example. One of our doctors, Dr. Shirish Patak, did Ironman Copenhagen with me last year, and I knew
Yes.
he was going to take him about an hour and a half, just about hour and a half more than uh, what I was going to wait. And so there was only there was only one gas station, a 7-Eleven, that was carrying coffee. So believe it or not, I actually walked a couple kilometers. It was cold, it was raining, but I wanted coffee at that time. And that I knew that was the only place. So I walked, got coffee, and then I came back. There's races where I'll just sit in the finisher's tent, get a massage. If they have a shower facility, take a shower. The picture in the middle is Ironman Frankfurt, where I had dengue and I finished the race. So I spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes in the medicine tent. That's why I have two IVs. I got
Yeah, I
electrolytes on
can see
both
that.
sides. Um, so fortunately, that has only happened a couple times. The rest of the times, it's either get a massage, get a shower, or get something to eat, and if you have energy, walk across the streets and get a coffee.
Yes. I can imagine, means you must be having all lovely memories of 25 Ironmans, but there must be some incidents which would have taught you, ki, "Arey, I should have done like that. I would have behaved like that." So, what were this kind of experience in last 25 Ironmans?
Well, I mean, I think 11:03, that race in Wisconsin, I did not necessarily have a good swim. I was at least a minute slower than where I should be. Um, I feel that overhydrated myself on the bike. that I had to stop and go and use the washroom a few times. Um, it sounds very very rude, and but most athletes are able to go on the bike itself. I was not able to do it. So I look back and I think that, okay, had I not stopped those 3 4 times, I would have had a faster swim. I would have had a sub 11 day. That's one race that comes to mind. I've had a crash in Ironman Malaysia, so I play that race in my head. I still remember the moment where I realized I was going to crash and how I came out of it. But for the most part, the other races, I know I have done my 100% regardless of the outcome, regardless of the time. So I usually don't go back and think, what I could have done differently.
Kostu always says hard work beats the talent every day. When talent doesn't work hard, this is, I think, one of the major motivating sentence which he follows. I will like to say on record, means Kaustubh was an asthmatic, is an asthmatic, and still he can achieve so many things. So, Kaustubh, what you want to say on this?
Well, it's a story of my life. I mean, I think this is something I swear by, that when I started swimming, initially I was not winning any medals. Um, I had friends who were much faster than me. Slowly, I caught up to them, and one of the prime reasons I caught up to them was because I wanted to work harder than anyone else. It didn't matter how much talent they had or how much talent I had, and it's carried through in the US as well. Is that I was always at a disadvantage. I was slimmer. I was, shorter than most of the people I swam against. But it just didn't matter because I was always the first person in the pool and the last person out of the pool. Every single practices. In my 4 year college career, I was late 2 times. And late means when practice starts at 5. If you show up at 5:02 in the morning, that's late. So you had 2 minutes of a window. So I was late 2 times. So I followed the process. I did every single thing right, and that's translated right now as well. Is that I don't, if you know how I train, I'm there almost every session, whichever is planned with the team. I'm there. Plus, I'm doing my own workouts. See, everyone has the same set of challenges. You just have to tell yourself you're going to get it done, and that has really helped me.
Good. So this is again a saying Dr. Kaustubh always follows. Fitness is an integrated part of my everyday life. That's what we have heard right now. Just like eating, sleeping, and working, he doesn't consider workout as a separate kind of a thing. It's an integral part. If he misses, he thinks it is something different. And this dedication has led him to achieve whatever he wanted to achieve. So, tell us about the practice sessions. Means 7,500 hours you have spent on practice. So, how your day is like? Means when you get up, how you spend time with your family, how you do your coaching, because there are more than 100 athletes training with you. So, how you manage your routine?
So usually my day starts very early, between 5 and 5:15. I'm up by 5:30, 5:45. I'm on the road. Whether it's for a lot of times now, it's running. Most of the cycling now happens indoors. So the picture in the middle, when I'm looking at the TV, is an indoor setup. Swimming, unfortunately, is closed right now, but I am fortunate that Tilak Tank is still very very close to me, so I have access to that pool. It's just that being an entrepreneur, being a full-time coach, I have more hours in the day than anyone else, so I can plan my sessions much more. If I realize that I have not recovered properly, which means I have not gone to bed by 9:30, 9:45 at night, and I have not got sound sleep, I'll just sleep in and get. I have the opportunity to do the session, whether it's at 11 in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, Usually, I'm doing 2 sessions in a day, so it's usually a run or cycle in the morning, and then either a weight training or swimming in the afternoon. And I'm doing that 6 days a week. Obviously, Saturday and Sunday are your longer days. Saturday sometimes, as you know, we are on the bike for 4 5. I've done as long as 6 hours, followed by a short run. And then Sunday is your long run day. So Sunday anywhere between 2 to 3 hours is what we'll end up doing. It's all about making yourself a schedule. uh, I have a mentor who helps me with making my own schedule. Sometimes when you're coaching hundreds of athletes, it becomes a very simple bias that I can just run with X person or run too fast or too slow. It goes both ways. So I have someone this year I'm working with. It makes me accountable as well. I like to see greens on all my workouts as well. And if I'm missing a workout, there better be a really good reason for doing that.
Among all this, family must have played a major role. Your father, your mother, your young child, your wife. How much important the role of family is there? How much important is the family support in all these triathlon events?
It's regardless triathlon or anything you want to achieve in life, family is very very important. Again, I was not in a mainstream sports, but my parents, my sister, my uncle never held me back. It's the same with Madhu and Vedant as well. That they don't seem to mind that I travel so much. Obviously, right now because of Corona, I'm not. But in normal times, I'm traveling at least 2 to 3 times in a week. And then obviously, when I go away for races, I'm gone multiple weeks, and then that happens 5 6 times in a year. So it's great to have family support. Obviously, I've taken all of them through different Ironman races. So you see a picture on the right. My parents came to my 23rd Ironman at South Africa. They had come to Lake Placid once before. So that was my third Ironman. Then it took them 20 Ironman races to finally accept and come with me. So family support is very, very crucial and very, very important.
Yeah, and Kaustup, your mom and yourself, you did the PhD in the same year. That is what is there.
Yeah, so we landed up finishing our PhD the same year in 2013. So again, my mother had to work much harder than I did. Hers was in Indian music. It took her almost 7 to 8 years. Mine was relatively easier, if you can say that. But I was in the US. I already had two master's degrees. Um, I was already in the system, so I knew how to work hard and get it done. For a woman in her mid 50s to even
Doing is
aspire to
great.
get a PhD, and then let alone work 7 8 years, and we all know the challenges not just women but middle-aged people have, right, with computers, with mobile phones. uh, so the ability to have got it done when she finished in 2013, I think she was 59. So that's just amazing.
So this is also an unique thing about Rutgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So you completed 25 Ironmans, you do a lot of things, but I know as you as a person, you like to take on challenges. So what are the different challenges you took? Okay, Ironman, you were set, you were training for that, but there were other endurance sports challenges also. So what are challenges you took along with Ironman?
uh, so I think my biggest challenge obviously was the Ironman race, and I wanted to then do the comrades, which is a 89.2 kilometer run, but I wanted to do it purely on Ironman training. I did not want to do this race as a runner. It's 89.2 kilometers. It goes from Pietersburg to Durban in South Africa. The beauty of this race is that it has, five big hills that one has to climb. Uh, and when I did it, I was the fastest Indian. In 2016, I had time of 8 hours and 47 minutes, 44 seconds. That was the second fastest time for an Indian overall. That when I did it. Um, but it was on my bucket list, and that's the only reason why I did. Most people do that race 2 times because if you do it back to back, for subsequent years you get a third medal. As soon as I finished the race, I knew this race was not for me, so I never went back.
Great. But still you ran 90 kilometers just on the training of Ironman. So that is simply superb. Great. So many people are not aware of there is something more to Ironman. That is the Ultraman racing. And colleagues, you will not believe Kaustubh has completed this grueling race of Ultraman, and he was the fastest Indian to complete in that year. And you will not believe the event is of 3 days. On day one, we have to swim 10 kilometers, open sea again, and 148-kilometer bike has to be done. On day two, 276 kilometers bike, and on day three, 84 kilometers run. And all this every day, you have got a 12-hour window period. In this 12 hours, you have to complete that. So the total distance we have to cover is 517 kilometers in just 3 days, and of swim, bike, and run. So again, Kaustubh was the fastest Indian to complete this race. So how you went for Ultraman racing, and what was your experience?
So again, it was just one of those things that I knew four other Indians had signed up. It's an invite only. It used to be an invite only event, and in 2016, I got an event. I got an invite from Ultraman, Florida, and it seemed like a good idea at the time when I registered. Again, I sort of knew what I was getting myself into, but did not know what I was getting myself into. So you have to have your own crew for the all 3 days. Uh, there's no outside help. You have to have a car following you. They have rules. You need at least two people in the car. Um, and my cousin came from South Carolina. I think that's where she was living. And I had another person who came to help me. So the water was very, very cold, and for some reason, I decided to leave my full sleeve wetsuit, which is the suit we wear to keep ourselves warm in India. And I realized that I had got the half sleeve suit on the morning of the race as I was getting ready for my warm up. And that's where, it just felt like this was going to be a comedy of errors. And we just laughed it off, and we were putting Vaseline on my hand, thinking it's going to make me warm. So the first day was meant to be my easiest day. So the swim, obviously, I had challenges. I was not as fast as I should have been. It was still the fourth fastest time in Ultraman history. Um, I had drunk a lot of water during that swim, which led to subsequently a lot of puking. It's all sea water in Florida, so subsequently I was throwing up all afternoon. Uh, my eyes had become irritated, so I lost my contact lens in between. So I had to send my crew to get me eye solution. While that was happening, I got a puncture. So the first day was just a comedy of errors. I mean, I finished it in 8 hours and 59 minutes, well under the 12-hour cutoff. The second day, two of my crew members did not show up. They just were not picking up their phones. So that morning also started in a funny manner, not knowing who was going to sit in the car with my cousin. So thankfully, the person who was with me the first day agreed to come at least till half day. So my cousin and him were in the car, and that was supposed to be my toughest day because I'd never ridden anything about 180 kilometers, and the challenge was 272. But that landed up being my easiest day. Like, I did not have one cramp, I did not have one puncture. Obviously, since there was no swimming, my contact lenses held up quite well. My crew was fantastic. I asked for McDonald's coffee at 4 o'clock. I had McDonald's coffee waiting for me, black coffee, along with a sandwich. So I finished that day in 11 hours and 6 minutes. The third day, which was the double marathon, so 84.4 kilometers, that was meant to be my strongest day. And that's where I'd really put in a lot of time, training wise as well. And I was going fine. I finished the first marathon in 4 hours and 20 or 25 minutes. And then again, you had to sort of go and attend nature's call in the woods, in the jungle. And in Florida, I was not aware they have fire ants. I stepped on a pile of fire ants somewhere around there, and I had a lot of swelling. we did not know what was happening. I just thought this is, fatigue and soreness from doing things, 2.5 days. And at the 70-kilometer mark is when it got really, really real, because I had a massive cramp in my right calf. And at that time I really had to dig in deep, and I told both my cousin and my other crew member that from now on, I'll be the only person who's going to chat and talk. And it was very, very emotional for me as well, because it's one of the very few times in life that I felt that, if anything worse will happen, I may not even be able to finish the race. So I was actually in tears for the last 14, 15 kilometers. But I only had one thought. I was doing it for my son, who was just born a few months before. And that's part of the reason why I got very, very emotional. I usually don't get this emotional at the finish line, but that's part of the reason why I got very emotional at the finish line.
Yeah, great, great. In spite of having so many odds, you could achieve because of your training, because of your mental determination. You could complete this Ultraman racing, and I think Milind Soman was also there as one of your the Indian participant along with you.
Yeah, Milind was also one of the Indians who finished that year. So it was the first time
Five Indians
four
had a
Indians, sorry, four Indians were invited and four of us finished.
finish. That's great. After Ironman, I think what every triathlete dreams of is the World Championship Kona. And Dr. Kaustubh was fortunate enough to get an invite to attend Kona, where only 2,000 athletes are allowed to attend this World Championship. Shortly, you can say tell about what was your experience about the World Championship, because it was your dream also to have the World Championship to complete. So, what was how the race went?
Well, I think anyone who hears of Ironman only hears primarily of Kona World Championships. They see the YouTube videos, they see the NBC live. So it's every triathlete's dream to get there, to rub shoulders with best of the best. To even qualify and get an invite, you have to have done 12 Ironmans in a row, which is a significant task in itself. By the time Kona came, I had already done 19 Ironmans. So Kona was my 19th race. It was again one of those races where, unfortunately, although it was the World Championships, not a whole lot of things went right. It is still till date my slowest time. Um, I did not have a really good swim. I had some issues with the swells and the waves. My bike was broken. Unfortunately, one of the parts was broken going into Kona. And since I was sponsored by Scott at that time and there was no official Scott dealer, nobody could fix that bike. So I was sort of handicapped on the bike section. I lost a lot of energy on the bike, plus drinking too much salt water caught up to me on the bike, which went on the run. I was completely dehydrated. So 40 kilometers was just a walk jog for me that day. And then I managed to just, get my spirits up, told myself this is once in a lifetime opportunity, and started running to see the finish line.
Great, great. But this was your world championship, though it was the slowest, but still completing a world championship is itself a big achievement.
Right.
Good,
So any race, that's the one thing I tell myself is, the first thing is to see the finish line. Timing is secondary.
secondary.
Just do what it takes.
After completing so many Ironmans, Ultraman, World Championship, comrades, you must have got a lot of media publicity. Triathlete is not such a common sport in India. What you felt means, in spite of achieving so much, did you get a proper sponsorship? Did you get a proper media coverage after achieving so much of a feat in a relatively a newer field? Because in India, everybody talks about cricket. Now people have started talking about badminton. But what about the triathletes? How uh, how the sport is coming up in India? What are your takes on this?
I mean, I would I would like to be brutally honest and say this is very, very slim media coverage that I've got. Whatever I've got is much more than majority of the triathletes I know. There's multiple reasons. I mean, we are a cricket, basketball, not basketball so much, but cricket, tennis, badminton focused nation. Your Premier Leagues will get more coverage than an athlete going for the world championship. Um but it is what it is. I've been fortunate to have few really good interviews, both Marathi, Hindi, and then obviously the iconic interview with Mike Riley, which happened, who's the voice of Ironman, as he's fondly called. Um, but again, I look at it that way that, if I'm getting this, the generation next should get much more. The sport will become better. Uh, so I don't necessarily dwell on what has happened. I'm obviously the first Indian triathlete to get a Wikipedia page as well. So the small recognitions that happen to you, and you take life as it comes. Again, I've been very fortunate to meet obviously Milind. I know quite well. Was fortunate to be associated with MS Dhoni for multiple years as part of the Riti Sports team, and then obviously meeting Shilpa Shetty was great because she's one of the ambassadors now for the Fit India movement as well. So there's small recognition that happens. Still haven't met the existing chief minister. Still haven't. Sports minister has not replied to any of my emails in the last 6-7 months. Here he has goals of making India the top ranked or top 10 Olympic sports, but he doesn't even have time to reply to my emails. So it's a sad state of affairs for other sports.
Yes, true, absolutely true. Uh, Kaustubh, you have done so much things. Coming to the last few slides, Kaustubh, you have done so much of Ironman. Many people tell you why you do. It's okay to do it once, twice, thrice, but you have done it 25 times, and still you are ready to go for to do many more. So, what does Ironman has given you in life? Means to shape up your life. So, what Ironman has done, shaping up your life?
Well, number one, Ironman, that one day is the race day, right? Where you put everything together. The most important thing it has given me is the discipline. It's made me obviously very determined. I've set proper limitations for myself. I go to bed at the right time. I wake up every morning at the right time. I get my exercise, my workouts done. Um, Obviously, it's made me very humble as well because, as I've shared from some of my experiences, that race can bring you down to your feet quite literally. And if you're bombastic and uh, too cocky and overconfident, more than likely you will not be able to finish the race. Um, Obviously, problem solving is something we need in life, regardless whether it's Ironman or everyday life. And again, the last 7 months have been a reminder for all of us that it's made me a better problem solver because on the Ironman race day, you're doing it on the fly. Majority of life incidents, you can at least have some sort of a timeline to decide what you want to do, what action you want to take. Uh, the last bit is that it's made me very relentless. I realized that, and that is something I try and impart to all my trainees as well, is that we have no limits. If you hold yourself back, that's the only time you'll set your own limits. But if you're honest and you work hard and you're just relentlessly chasing whatever you want to do, whether it's personal life or professional life or sporting life, you will find out that the sky is the limit. So it's made me very relentless in my thoughts and relentless in my approach to training as well.
Great. So these are the routine things which we should learn in life and we should try to implement. And Ironman definitely teaches us how to be accepting, how to be a humble. And yes, of course, the biggest thing is the problem solving because you are on your own and we have to face all the situations on your own. So that is what the Ironman gives to you in your day-to-day life also. Uh, Putting this example, age is no bar for doing any Ironman. This Mr. Hiromu Inada, at the age of 87, he's completing the Ironman and he's still raring to go for the 88th. For the next year also, he's planning to go for the Kona. So these are the kind of inspirations which we get when we attend the races. We see this kind of inspirations and they motivate us definitely. Coming to the last few slides, Kaustubh, now you are the Ironman. You have done yourself, but you are also a very good coach. You are a certified Ironman coach, and you have started your own coaching called as Radstrong. And people, I'm happy to say he is training more than hundreds of athletes all across India as well as abroad also. And what he preaches, what he does, he preaches, and what his thinking is making passion your profession. His passion was sports and training, and that he has converted into profession. So he is having very good results with his trainees also. And as he had said, there are 99 athletes who have completed Ironman under his guidance. So that is definitely a great feat. I think you must be the only coach who are having so much Ironman complete finishes with you, isn't it, Kostub?
Yeah, in India, I don't think there's anyone close. But I mean, like I said, I started the coaching journey way back in 2010. It's 2013-14 when I formalized it. Radstrong came into the picture. There was a big need in India because people were just doing haphazard coaching. A lot of people did not have uh, the racing experience needed to become a coach, let alone uh, the more important medical background that I brought in, and that's what I thought I could fill in a gap. Again, my prime motive was to have 100 athletes by 2020 who became Ironman under me. So I think I'm going to be one short thanks to Corona this year, but that still is a significant achievement. When I first started coaching in 2014, I had one Indian person who was training with me, and now on a consistent basis I have 100 worldwide. And I just don't coach only for Ironman. So, we coach anything from starting your first 5K to a marathon to Ironman, and whatever you want to achieve in life.
So, what is your take-home message to your trainees and to who are all are listening to this webinar?
Number one message is invest in your health, and exercise is a great way to do it. So, for our trainees, there's a plan that has been designed for you. Make sure you wake up in the morning and get it done. Similar to everyone watching, get your exercise done in the morning, because more than likely life is going to come in the way. And there's no better day than today to get started. Obviously, it's a little late now, but then tomorrow when you wake up, that's the best day. There's no horoscope or anything you need to check. If you have to do something, wake up and get after it. Number two is eat the right things. It's very, very important to have a balanced diet as well. I think the last 7 months have really taught us that there's a hidden master chef, at least one of them in the family. Uh, so you can have a great meal at home, with a restaurant type experience as well. So invest in eating some really good balanced meals. Number three is invest time in doing some strength training. Especially us Indians are predisposed to lower back, to poor core, knee injuries. Along with age, that is a big factor as well. So invest time in strength training. Number four is set yourself a goal, whatever that goal might be. It could be a 5K, it could be a 10K, could be a 21K, whatever your Ironman is. Make sure you set it up for yourself. And then number five, work very, very hard to achieve that goal. So achieve and then celebrate as well. So if you achieve something, the celebration has to be as big as well.
Yeah, that's a very nice suggestion. These are a few of my photographs with my coach when I completed the half Ironman at Goa, and this is with the Kolhapur triathlon. The coach is always there to cheer you up at the finish line, and that gives a very good feeling. And on the course also, he's always cheering and he's always guiding how to move forward. So that's a very good part of Kaustubh. Last slide. What next? So your bucket list was of 25 Ironmans, World Championship, Ultraman, Comrades. Now you have achieved everything. You have achieved everything. So what next?
Well, I don't know what is next. I've not really set myself that new goal. I'm just sort of enjoying this no pressure phase. There's no races. I really enjoy training because I love the process. I love the process of getting up and doing different things, experimenting new workouts on myself that then can translate to my trainees. So right now I have not really set myself any specific goal. I'm just enjoying this phase.
Good. Good. So thank you, Kaustubh. Thank you, Kaustubh. It was very nice to hear you for almost an hour's time. How the hour went, we didn't know, but it was a very fantastic learning from you. It was very exciting to hear how you approached the races, how you completed it, how you overcame all the obstacles, and all the best for your future endeavor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you so
Kaustubh,
much for
for
having. Thank you for listening
yes.
and watching.
Over.
Yeah. Thank
Uh,
you, Dr. Pradyumna, for excellent discussion on this Ironman, which very few of us, including me, were knowing in details. Friends, what I gather from this, we have heard Dr. Vasanti Doshi, we have heard Ashish Kasavdekar, and now Dr. Kaustubh Adkar. It is all discipline, determination, planning, and just achieve your goals once you are determined. And that is what Kaustubh has shown us. I presume, Kaustubh, you come from this Mother Earth and not an alien from anywhere, because
Yeah.
whatever you have shown here is absolutely stunning. Thank you very much. Kaustubh, no webinar is complete unless we answer a couple of questions from those who have attended listening. There are more than 1,100 who are listening to this webinar, and that is itself shows how important this webinar and the topic is. Pradyumna, please go through your WhatsApp. I will be reading first question, and you can read second and the other alternate questions. The first question, Kaustubh, is from Dr. P.S. Patil of PCMC. He has asked, what are your, how much a newcomer should start running, and what could be the diet tips? These are simple, and the questions are a little tougher later on. So, what for tomorrow, if I want to start running, what could be the goal and what could be the diet tips for the week or so?
So I mean, I think it's very difficult to answer this question not knowing someone's age, not knowing someone's health history, not knowing someone's injury pattern, anything. I would say, yeah. And most people listening here are going to be in the middle age. You all are doctors. I would say, but first things first, get a screening done so that you know the internal engine is fine.
It's not bad.
Once that is done, you can slowly gradually build to 30 minutes of jogging. Once 30 becomes easy, go to 40, and so on and so forth. In terms of diet, I usually don't believe in any particular diet. I find that the problem is not diet, its problem is too many eating. So if you count your calories during the day, you will realize that majority of us will get the 2000 calories by lunchtime, and anything else that comes is a bonus. So don't cut out any food groups. It's okay to have rice, it's okay to have chapati, just eat everything in moderation.
All right. Okay. Moderation is important. Pradyumna, go for second question.
Yeah, for newcomers, how much to run? That is what many people are asking. How to start? Means many people, after hearing this, they want to do something. They want to start something. So how they should start? One thing I will recommend you to join the Ratstrong coaching. That will be my first advice. But yes, right now, what will be your advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, first make sure the internal engine is fine and ready to go. If you have the medical clearance, obviously, then you can slowly start with a walk jog program, where you walk, let's say 2-3 minutes, and then you jog 2-3 minutes, and you do that for half an hour. And then once half an hour becomes easy, go to 40, and subsequently keep building that you are jogging more and walking less.
All right. Okay. Kaustubh, Manoj from Dhule asked how to develop stamina and endurance for Ironman. I mean, suppose you want to start from tomorrow. How do you start? He is in Dhule.
Well, again, Manoj, I don't know what your swimming background is, what your cycling background is, what your running background is. Uh, you have to individually get to the three levels, 3.8, 180, and then 42. And then once you're comfortable getting there, you have to club all of them together. So you can keep Ironman as your big goal, but there's small races that one should always start with.
All right. Pradyumna, next question.
Yes. There's one question from Dr. Vikas Pathania. He himself is a very good runner. What he has asked is how you balance work and sports life.
Well, if you do your runs in the morning, there's not much to balance. After that, uh, you get your workouts done by 7:38, and then you have the rest of the day to do whatever you want to do. For most of us, that means work. But I think the most common mistake people make is that uh, they stay up late. Our lifestyles are such that you have a late dinner, then you land up watching TV because you don't necessarily want to sleep immediately after eating. That's going to result in you not waking up on time. That's going to result in you saying, okay, I'll go for a run later on in the evening or whatever that is. And then you land up missing one thing after another. It's a vicious cycle. So I always tell people that, get ready for the run the night before. And then in the morning, make sure whatever the time it is you set for yourself, get up, walk around, and you will land up going for your jog or run, whatever that is.
Right. Okay.
I think the same thing he has told about me, because I do the same thing. I have to say ki in the morning I didn't get up, so I will do the run in the evening. So that is for me also. Thanks, Kaustubh.
Kaustubh, there is a question from Pranav Delhi. I would like to skip marathons and start doing triathlon directly. Is it possible? That is first question. And second one, I am not able to focus daily running goals and just thinking of doing random long runs to get in shape. Any advice you can give?
Well, first of all, I think there's two different goals we're talking about, and skipping the small runs and randomly doing runs is not the right way to go. It's like saying, I'm going to skip all the small exams in medical school and I'm only going to appear for the final exam. You're going to set yourself up for failure. So each and every small run has a purpose. So if you need to first do that. And I would highly say that unless and until you are part of that process in running, don't even think about venturing into Ironman, because then in running it's very easy. You're only doing 4 or 5 runs in a week. In Ironman, you'll be doing 12 to 13, 14 workouts in a week. So if you're already skipping majority of the workouts, you will set yourself up for failure in an Ironman race. So
Yes.
get the simple things right, and enjoy the process.
There is one question from Natesh Naik from Valsad. I am 62 years old. Last 2 years successfully done half Ironman, but afraid for full. Your tips on the same. So how the transition from a half Ironman to the full Ironman should be done when there is an experience of two half Ironmans?
Well, uh, we already have two people above 60 who have trained with us and have done multiple full Ironmans. Both Dashrath and Sampath have done, I think, 2 full Ironmans now. 3. They both did 3. New Zealand was their third. So yeah, I mean, find a good coach who is going to plan your workouts based on your age, who understands that at that age your uh, rest and recovery is equally important as doing a workout. And if you follow a structured plan, then I think you should be able to achieve an Ironman. Just give yourself a little longer. So if you did a half Ironman with 6 to 9 months of training, don't think another 6 to 9 and I'm going to become a full Ironman. Give yourself a little longer.
Right. Okay. Kaustubh, Rajiv Thakre from Nashik asks, he is 57 years young. He is a marathon runner and last 14 years, and he has participated in Mumbai marathons also. He does half marathon in about 1.45 to 2 hours. And is it possible to do full ultra run at this age without any injury? In how many days I can scale up? He is
Well, I think
57 years. Yeah.
I think how many days is not a right question you should be asking. Uh, if you want a real answer, then you should take a year, because at
Yeah.
57, I'm sure you have other challenges in life as well. So take your time. I don't understand what's the rush. If you do everything right, you will do it in a healthy manner, and you will do it in a way that you won't be injured either while
Yeah.
going up to your run or after the run.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, there is one last question, I think from Dr. Suhas Mate from Pune. Many people are scared about doing open sea swim. So, what is your guidance? Because most of the times they practice in a swim. So, what are your tips for this, for the open sea swim? Because that is the main challenging factor which many athletes face.
Yeah, open water swim is a skill in itself. It's completely different than swimming in the swimming pool. Again, my number one advice is not just me, but if there's other coaches who are having camps, whether it's Goa or anywhere else in India, make sure you attend a few camps. They will teach you the right techniques, and small techniques that only the experienced swimmers know. That will help you, number one, be comfortable in the water, and number two, make sure you're swimming in the right direction. The biggest problem people have is that they can't get a sense of direction because they can't see the surface of the bottom of the pool. So in the ocean, you're not going to see anything beyond your arm if you're lucky, and they land up wandering and swimming extra.
All right. Okay. The last question from me. Also, Abhilash from Mumbai has asked, sir, if you could throw some light on sprint distance and Olympic distance triathlon, what is its scope in India, and which is the best way to train to take part in ITU in future?
Um, so sprint distance is very simple: 750 meters swimming, 20 kilometers cycle, and 5 kilometer run.
Okay.
And then the Olympic is just the double of that: 1500 swimming, 40 kilometer cycle, 5 kilometer run. You will have to join ITU. You will have to contact them, and then there's the Indian Triathlon Federation. You will have to get a license from them. If you have a license from them, which allows you to then register for international events, you can register for any ITU or WTU events.
All right. Then your concluding remarks, and then I will wrap up. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Kaustubh, for honoring our invitation and coming and giving us nice description about the Ironman, about your journey, about your achievements, and also thanks for answering all the queries which you had. It's almost now 1 hour 30 minutes what we are discussing now. It was an amazing session with you, and hope we will have more such sessions live. Instead of having it on the Zoom, it's always better to listen you live and
Yeah.
to interact with you. Thank you, Kaustubh.
Thank you.
And thank you, Patwardhan sir, for giving me the opportunity to conduct this session. I also thank the FDC people for organizing this event. We had a lot of logins, almost more than 1100 logins we had today, and it was very good attendance. So, thanks, FDC, for giving a proper publicity. Before I end, I will like to say there are IDVL elections which are going on. The voting has already started. We have our own Dr. Narendra Patwardhan who is contesting for the president-elect post. The e-voting has already started. Though the e-voting is till 15th of November, please don't wait till the last date. If you have not casted your vote already, you cast it immediately today itself or tomorrow. It's a very simple process. It takes hardly 1 minute to cast the e-vote. All the instructions are there on our website, that is iadvl.org, and you have to select the proper candidate, that is Dr. Narendra Patwardhan. You can vote in front of him. He has promised us if he becomes the president, he will have a lot of sports activity in the dermatology field also. And we will be really happy to have Dr. Patwardhan sir as our future president. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Kaustubh, thank you very much. Pradyumna, thank you very much. Kaustubh, I hope your expertise goes up to our ministerial level and you be a part of some gold medal or some silver medal or bronze medal winner sometimes next year in the Olympics. Fortunately, they are not here this year. So I hope your whatever you are doing emails with the ministry, they land up with the proper people and they get back to you and our country gets a medal through your leadership. So this is our wish. And with this, I thank Pradyumna, thank Kaustubh, and thank FDC for sponsoring this session. And I hand it over to Rahul for his concluding remarks. And the technical team, of course, of FDC. Rahul?
Very good evening once again. I hereby thank you all the dignitaries for making this webinar and guiding this webinar, the audience, and inspiring us all through your experiences, to the how the challenges you have faced on, how you overcome this. Thank you so much, and hereby also thank the audience for taking out time from the busy schedule and attending this webinar. Thank you so much. Good night,
Thank you
all.
very much and good night and have a lovely weekend to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.